how to stop overthinking at the root. So if you replay conversations in your head for hours, okay, especially if it was conflict, if something didn't go your way, if something triggered you, you replay those conversations for hours. If your brain won't switch off at night, like you're lying in bed trying to go to sleep, or maybe in my case, you wake up during the night, and that's when your mind decides to, constantly overthink. If you need certainty before you can even relax, okay, then I promise this is the video for you, okay, because I'm going to explain why you're overthinking and why trying to control it hasn't helped. In fact, I'm going to argue that that's what's actually making worse, okay? So I work with spiritually aware women who struggle with chronic overthinking and anxiety. And what I've learned is this, okay? So overthinking can sometimes feel like, let's try it. Constant scanning is kind of like that fight or flight mode, constantly on edge, alert, okay? Replaying, needing closure, just needing that closure, seeking reassurance, seeking validation. It's kind of like, I just call it the energy of like dogs constantly on alert. To me, that's what it can feel like in your body, okay? So you don't overthink because you're dramatic or sensitive. Like I've been raised being told I was too sensitive, I was too this, I was too that. And there's nothing wrong with you. You're not overthinking because you're dramatic. There's something wrong with you. You're sensitive. I feel like it's a normal human trait to overthink, okay? But the truth is, you overthink because your nervous system doesn't feel safe. And let's put that in another way that you might understand, okay? You're overthinking because you don't feel safe in your body. Something has happened in the past that has created this emotional charge. So when things happen in your life, and normally they're little triggers, and maybe you don't see them as triggers, and it's got your body on alert because you don't feel safe. So then you constantly start scanning, and that's when the overthinking is happening. Okay. So the most common advice I see all the time is, and I'm not saying they're right or wrong, I think everything there's a place for and it can be completely right. I'm a firm believer of, and this is going to the first advice, is just challenge the thought. Now, I think this is really powerful, and I'm not going to say this is wrong. I actually absolutely agree with it. I believe in being an FBI with your thoughts. Your thoughts aren't true, okay? Not all of them are true. Sometimes they lie to you. Sometimes they're crazy thoughts. Sometimes they don't even belong to you. So I truly believe in challenging the thought, becoming an FBI agent with it, okay? And then there's stuff like distract yourself. Now, in the NLP space, which is why I'm moving away from it, is they teach in changing your state. Change your state, because it's all about the bypassing, which I talked about in the previous video. And so common advice is distract yourself. Now that's a great strategy, but the problem with distracting yourself is eventually it's going to happen again, because you can't distract yourself 24/7 every day of your life, because that's going to take a toll on you. Trust me, just take my word for it. Okay? Regulate your breathing. Regulating your breathing, yes, breath. And I'm someone that has started practicing meditation, and I love a lot of short breath work. So yes, there's an absolute place, and there's a lot of healing and power when it comes to breath work and regulating your breathing and using breath. And there's even a belief, okay, and certain cultures believe that your breath, your breathing actually holds vibration. So practicing some kind of breath work or meditation or breathing awareness can shift your vibrational state and can actually shift some of the anxiety or anxious energy. However, your intention is everything. If you're choosing to turn to regulating your breathing because someone told you that will stop your overthinking thoughts, then it's going to be very short. Let's go back to the metaphor I said in my last video. It's like a band-aid. Eventually that band-aid will fall off, okay? Practice gratitude is another one. Again, like I said in my last video, super powerful, but intention's everything. Are you trying to stop your overthinking brain by thinking gratitude, by having this gratitude practice? Because again, bypassing means eventually you can't live in gratitude forever. No one can. Eventually you're going to stop that practice, and then your mind will go crazy again. You're going to have that monkey mind again. And you might have tried all of that and you're still spiraling. Okay. And that's because, and this is what I keep alluding to, overthinking isn't the problem. Okay. So let's dive into what overthinking actually is. Okay. So overthinking is an attempt to prevent pain. Okay. So your mind is constantly scaring, what could go wrong? What did I do wrong? What are they thinking? What should I say next time? Okay, so your mind is scanning, and that's the overthinking part of it. It's trying to predict and control outcomes. Okay, so one might ask why, because at some point in our past, something felt unpredictable, embarrassing, rejecting, unsafe, out of control. And this could be going back from childhood when you're really young. It could be when you're at school. Something happened in your life that created some kind of emotional charge in you that you haven't released. It's been storing in your body this whole time. So therefore your body is always on edge. Okay. And it's kind of like let's use another metaphor. It's kind of like there's a pot on stove with boiling water. Okay. And it boils so much. And if you put too much water in it, it's going to boil over. And it's the same thing with our bodies when it comes to anxious energy, overthinking. And it's kind of like you can tame it for a short time, but eventually it's too much and it's going to boil over. And that's why I don't believe in the Band-Aid method. Okay. So the brain has actually learned if I think hard enough, I can stop that from happening again. I can control everything to avoid feeling pain, hurt, being rejected, being out of control. A lot of the times, overthinking is very linked to that need to be in control. Okay. So you don't need better thoughts as much as people would like to teach you that. You need a resolution of the emotional charge driving the thoughts. So let's stop focusing on the thoughts, because your thoughts are up here. Your thoughts are basically what's on the surface. But what about underneath it? What about underneath the iceberg? Thoughts are the tip of the iceberg outside the water. But what's driving the thoughts? That is what you need to resolve. Because when you clear that emotional charge, you will stop the overthinking. Okay. So instead of trying to stop the thought, what about if you can just ask, what is my system? What is my body trying to protect me from right now? And then go on that rabbit hole of an FBI agent, of looking at things that maybe you're trying to protect yourself of, and then working through that. Okay. And if you're self-aware and still stuck in overthinking, okay, I've created this free workshop called Why Spiritual Women Still Struggle with Anxiety. And in it, I break down why mindset and regulation alone don't create permanent relief and what actually does. Okay. And also, I'm linking to this video an EFT meditation to calm the mind. Okay, so I'll see you in the EFT meditation to calm your mind, and I will see you next week.